It was just an airport. Just another departure. But when Kim Taehyung stepped out, it didn't feel ordinary at all. April 22nd, 2026, what should have been a routine airport appearance quickly transformed into a global talking point. In the world of K-pop, airport fashion is nothing new, especially for a global group like BTS. Every arrival and departure is documented, analyzed, and discussed in real time. Outfits trend within minutes, and visuals are dissected frame by frame. But this time, something felt different. Not louder, not flashier, just deeper. And fans noticed immediately, at first glance, Taehyung's outfit didn't seem designed to dominate headlines. There were no bold patterns, no extravagant accessories, no exaggerated styling choices. Instead, he appeared in a carefully composed look built around darker tones, clean tailoring, and a quiet sense of elegance. It was simple, but not accidental. The silhouette was structured yet relaxed. The color palette leaned toward neutral shades, deep blacks, muted grays, and soft textures that absorbed light rather than reflecting it. Even the smallest details, from the layering to the fit, felt deliberate. Fans quickly pointed out that this wasn't the kind of outfit meant to grab attention instantly. It was the kind that stayed with you. Within minutes, social media platforms began filling with reactions. But instead of the usual comments about brands or trends, a different kind of language emerged. Why does this feel like a scene from a film? He looks like he just walked out of a movie. This isn't just fashion, it's storytelling. The word that appeared most often was simple: cinematic. It spread quickly across fan communities, discussion threads, and content platforms. What started as a passing comment soon evolved into a full theory. A theory that Taehyung isn't just changing his style. He's entering a new era. The term gets used often, but rarely explained. In this context, cinematic doesn't just mean visually appealing. It means something more layered, something that suggests a story beyond what is immediately visible. And that's exactly what Taehyung's airport appearance seemed to do. His posture was calm, almost introspective. His gaze wasn't directed toward cameras in the usual way. It felt distant, as if focused on something internal rather than external attention. Even his movements carried a different rhythm, slower, more controlled, less reactive. It created an unusual effect. Instead of watching a celebrity arrive at an airport, it felt like watching a character enter a scene. If this had been an isolated appearance, it might have been dismissed as a styling experiment. But fans were quick to connect it with recent patterns. Over the past few weeks, Taehyung's visuals, across photo shoots, performances, and public appearances, have consistently leaned toward a more refined, mood-driven direction. Darker tones, minimalist styling, emotional restraint. The airport look didn't start the conversation. It confirmed it. One of the most discussed aspects of this moment wasn't the outfit itself, but the presence Taehyung carried. There was a noticeable sense of stillness. In an environment usually filled with noise, flashes, and fast-paced movement, he seemed almost untouched by the chaos around him. Not disengaged, but centered. This kind of presence is difficult to define, but easy to feel. It's often associated with actors rather than idols, individuals trained to convey emotion through subtle expression rather than overt performance. And that's where the speculation deepens. Observers have begun to suggest that Taehyung may be approaching even casual moments as part of a larger visual narrative. Not in an artificial way, but in a curated, intentional sense. Every element of the airport look, from styling to demeanor, felt cohesive. Nothing seemed random. Nothing felt out of place. It's the kind of consistency typically seen in film production, where every frame is carefully constructed to support a mood or story. If that's the case, then this wasn't just an outfit. It was a frame. As the cinematic era theory gains traction, the conversation is shifting. It's no longer just about what Taehyung wore. It's about what this could mean. Is he preparing for a new kind of solo project? Is this connected to potential acting work? Or is it simply a natural evolution of his artistic identity? At this stage, there are no confirmed answers. But the questions themselves are significant, because they show that fans are no longer just reacting. They're interpreting, What makes this moment particularly compelling is how understated it is. There's no official announcement declaring a new era. No dramatic shift designed for immediate impact. Instead, the change is unfolding gradually through tone, detail, and consistency. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it. And that's why it feels different from typical concept changes. In an industry built on visibility and impact, Taehyung has done something unexpected. He made people pause. Not because he tried to stand out, but because he didn't have to. If this airport moment is any indication, something is evolving. And if fans are right about this cinematic era, then this quiet beginning may be the first scene of something much bigger. The more people looked at it, the clearer it became. This wasn't just an outfit. It was communication. And at the center of it all was Kim Taehyung, delivering a message without saying a single word. At a surface level, Taehyung's airport look seemed minimal. But minimalism, when intentional, often carries more meaning than complexity. Fans began breaking down every element. The dark tones weren't just aesthetic, they created mood. Dark palettes in visual storytelling are often associated with depth, introspection, and emotional weight. The tailoring wasn't overly sharp, nor was it loose. It existed in a balance, suggesting control without rigidity, a sense of comfort within structure. Even the lack of accessories became part of the narrative. Nothing distracted from the overall impression. Everything pointed back to presence. This wasn't fashion designed to impress. It was fashion designed to express. There's a reason this look resonated so strongly. In a world where visuals are often loud and immediate, subtlety stands out. It requires the audience to slow down, to observe, to interpret. Taehyung's airport appearance did exactly that. Instead of delivering a clear, instant message, it invited curiosity. It made people ask questions. And once an audience starts asking questions, they become more engaged. That's not just style, that's strategy. Another aspect that caught attention was how effortless everything seemed. There was no visible attempt to perform for cameras, no exaggerated gestures or forced interactions. Yet, ironically, that lack of effort created a stronger impact. This kind of presence often signals confidence. It suggests that the individual doesn't need to prove anything. They simply exist, and that's enough. For many fans, this marked a noticeable evolution. Taehyung wasn't trying to own the moment. Longtime followers quickly noticed a change in energy compared to previous years. Taehyung has always been known for his duality, switching between playful charisma and deep intensity. But this time, the playful side seemed quieter, almost hidden beneath a more composed exterior. What replaced it wasn't coldness, but calmness. A grounded, steady presence that felt more mature. It didn't remove his personality. It refined it. What started as scattered comments soon turned into a full discussion. Fans weren't just reacting anymore. They were building a theory. The phrase cinematic era began trending for a reason. People weren't just describing how Taehyung looked, they were describing how he felt. Cinematic visuals aren't about perfection. They're about storytelling, atmosphere, emotion that lingers beyond the moment. And suddenly, fans began connecting dots. Recent photo shoots? Cinematic. Stage presence? More restrained, more emotional. Public appearances? Consistent in tone. The airport look didn't introduce a new concept. It revealed a pattern point. One of the most interesting theories to emerge is the idea that this wasn't accidental, that even an airport appearance could function as a kind of soft teaser. In K-pop, teasers usually come in the form of concept photos, trailers, or short clips. But as artists evolve, so do the ways they communicate with their audience. What if Taehyung is using everyday moments as extensions of his artistic identity? Not staged, but curated. If that's true, then the airport becomes more than a location. It becomes a platform. What makes this theory believable is consistency. If only one element changed, it could be coincidence. But when multiple elements shift in the same direction, visuals, energy, styling, it suggests intention. Taehyung's current trajectory shows alignment. Everything points toward the same mood, the same tone, the same quiet intensity. And consistency is what turns speculation into something more convincing. Another key factor in this phenomenon is the role of fans. Today's audiences don't just consume content, they analyze it. They interpret symbols, track patterns, and build narratives. In a way, they become part of the storytelling process. Taehyung's current approach seems to invite that participation. By not explaining everything directly, he leaves space for interpretation. And that space is where engagement grows. What began as a simple airport appearance has turned into something much bigger. Not because of what was shown, but because of what was felt. Taehyung didn't just arrive at the airport that day. He introduced a possibility, a different kind of presence, a different kind of direction. And if this really is the beginning of a cinematic era, then the story is only just starting.